Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at this very large Tuesday night slate on DraftKings. I want to say it's a 14-game slate. I might be wrong here, but a couple things. You'll see the notification when you open up the lobby. But the Cubs game is 7 innings, and the Angels Blue Jays game is also 7 innings. So obviously, it doesn't really impact the pitchers too much. But the batters, in those games, you can probably just expect them to get one fewer at bat than usual. So kind of off those guys. So what we'll do, since it's such a large slate, I'll just give you a couple pitchers that I'm interested in, a couple of bats that I'm interested in, and be on our way. If I don't mention a pitcher or if I don't mention a team, it doesn't mean that they're a terrible play and I'm not interested in them at all. But with just these large slates, there's so many different routes that you can go. There's no one correct way. So you kind of got to just trust your research, pick a path that you want to take and go with it. We've also mentioned on these large slates, just like crossing off some games that just you don't really have too much interest in either the pitchers or the bats. Just cross them off completely and it'll help your research out. So without further ado, let's just get into the pitchers. Max Scherzer right up at the top. You'll notice a lot of pitchers are priced very high up on this slate. So Scherzer, 11K. We haven't seen 11K in a while on DraftKings, but he's there, and he's in a great spot going up against the Philly offense. Well, the Philly offense has been doing much better as of lately. They really, really struggled after the All-Star break, but they're doing better now. But still, Scherzer, he's faced Philly 3 times in the past, I think it's 2 months, and he's mowed them down. So in them, he's averaging 26, 27 DK points. And at 11K, that's 2.5x. I mean, that's paying off his salary for sure. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. With such a large slate, there is salary to be found. So Scherzer, clear-cut #1. And that's that. I mean, he's the #1 guy for sure. Then you get a couple other guys who are also priced above 10K. Nola going up against the Dodgers. He's GPP at best. He just doesn't have the floor that I trust, but he does have that upside. Going up against the Dodgers, it is a tough matchup. Sonny Gray, he's got a high strikeout rate. He's over that 30% mark that we love to see. But again, he's not as trustworthy as other guys that I would pay up for in this range. But going up against Atlanta can struggle. Their offense is good, but without Acuna leading off there, it's not as scary, but still they can have some pop. So 10.3K is just a little bit too pricey for Gray. I be much more interested if he was in like the low 9s, kind of back where he was. Manaea, going up against Cleveland. Manea's the strikeout. We saw his form. We saw what he was doing, and then he had a letdown in his last game. But it was against San Diego. That offense is much stronger than this Cleveland offense is. But again, 10K, it is kind of up there. I'd like him a lot better if he was back to this range, in the low 9K range. Cleveland, they are one of the worst teams in the league against left-handed pitching. So he does have that going for him. But again, if we're paying up this high, I would go up towards Scherzer. But there is one play that I love way better and for cheaper. That's actually Rodriguez here, Erod. Tampa Bay, one of the worst teams in the league on the season against left-handed pitching. His K rate in his past couple of starts has been phenomenal. He's got a 39% strikeout rate in his past, 4 games, we'll say, just from this New York Yankee game on up. So 39% strikeout rate post All-Star break. His form is just fantastic. He's going up against the Tampa Bay team that's one of the worst in the majors against left-handed pitching. So he's got all the things going for him here. It looks like 16 points against Tampa Bay, but who knows how long ago that was. He's here back in June. So but his form, he's just in such a better spot. He's got the strikeouts, 9.3K. I like him better than I like the other guys who are 10K and priced up there, just point per dollar. Wood and Gilbert, they're in great matchups going up against Texas and Arizona. I can see them being a bit popular. So maybe, Erod's a little bit more contrarian just because I think Wood and Gilbert are probably going to get some more ownership, but I do like Erod here. Scrolling on down, I'm not too interested in any of these guys. Carrasco, he's been back for 2 games now. They're still stretching his arm out. 60 pitches, it's not really much to get excited for. Maybe he gets 70 pitches, 75. So I don't know how long he's going to go in this game, but he does have the K upside. He's got decent control so far. I know in his career he's had some control issues, so it's been all right so far. Washington, it's not somebody that I'm terrified of. So 8K, again, I think every single pitcher on this slate, or at least the top half, are just priced up, maybe like 500 to 1,000 too much. But Carrasco, I think, is somebody that you need to be looking at in this price range. Just kind of scrolling through. McKenzie, he's boom or bust. We've mentioned that a lot. Going up against Oakland, not the easiest matchup, but he has that upside where he can get a 30-point DK game. But he also has the floor and the bust where he's going to be finishing in the negatives. So he's finished in the negatives in 3 of his past 6 games, but he's also got a 30-pointer in there. So boom or bust for McKenzie. Nice UV play. Odorizzi, weak Colorado offense. I can see people being interested in there. Everything else is pretty gross down here. J Happ, probably my favorite punt play, cheap play here. He's faced St. Louis or Pittsburgh once this season, put up 24 DK points, 5.9K. I think he's one of the few guys that's actually too cheap compared to his matchup and everything here. Pittsburgh, weak offense, especially against left-handed pitching. They're a bottom 5 team in batting average against left-handed pitching. And really, that's kind of what's been Happ's downfall. It's just he lets up a lot of hits. He goes deep into games, but he limits walks, but no, he just lets up a lot of hits. So now he's going up against a team. They don't hit often. They don't hit very well at all. So J Happ, if you want some salary savings, I think it's very nice down in that range. So just kind of recap that real quick. Scherzer, clear number 1. These guys here, I think, are just priced a little bit too much. Nola, GPP at best. Wood and Gilbert, nice matchups. 7-inning game. Erod, I really like Erod in the spot that he's in. No interest in these guys here. Carrasco, GPP, I don't know how far he's going to go into the game. Odorizzi, nice matchup against a bad offense. McKenzie, boom or bust. Not too interested in these guys here. Just maybe Gallen, maybe Allard, just with the matchups that they're in. But Happ would be my favorite guy down in this low range. So let's turn towards the bats. I'm not going to go through every game, but the first team I do want to talk about is the Chicago White Sox going up against Jax. Now, Jax, he's had back-to-back games where he's only allowed 1 earned run. He shut down Houston last time out before a late inning home run. But if you looked at the numbers, he didn't strike anybody out. I think in his past 10 innings of work, let me just pull these guys up. In his past 10 innings of work, he's got 2 strikeouts. We're talking single-digit strikeout rate. He's just never been a strikeout pitcher. He's got 1 game here against the Chicago White Sox team where he did well, but I'm not looking too much into that there. So Jax, he's going to be getting very lucky with the ball. 10 innings, 1 earned run, and 2 strikeouts. That's not sustainable. The White Sox, they have been doing very well. I do have to bring up Eloy Jiménez. He is still too cheap. You have to be plugging this guy into your lineups at 4.4K. We know the ability that he has, back-to-back games of double home runs. And really, ever since he came back from injury, he's been doing very well. So Eloy Jiménez, the talent is there. Got to plug him in. Chicago also does have some nice value on the slate here. So Goodwin at 3.4K. Roberts back. Vaughn. I mean, there's just Cesar Hernandez. There's just a lot of good value. Anderson and Abreu, I think their GPP plays, just because of their price, it's just too high. But they have been hitting the ball much better here. So in cash, I mean, you could definitely go with the lower guys. In GPP, go with the top guys. Nothing wrong with that. So White Sox will be number one. Highest implied run total on the slate that I'm seeing is the Yankees going up against Lynch. Obviously, Rizzo's out with COVID. Just pay attention to the COVID news. You don't know if Yankees are another thing, another outbreak going on. But Lynch, a lefty. Lynch hasn't had the worst numbers lately. But still, this Yankees offense, they have been coming around. They have been doing better. Except last night. Last night they let us down again. But Judge, for sure. Gallo, I don't like against left-handed pitching. LeMahieu, Stanton, they're all great spots. High implied run total, but I'm not the most interested in them. Detroit, the other team that I want to be talking about here, going up against Akin. Akin, not great numbers in Detroit. I think they're relatively cheap. Scoop here, 4.7K, has been mashing left-handed pitching. He is, I wrote down, 15 for 26. So his batting average, 15 for 26 in the past 4 weeks, a 577 batting average against left-handed pitching. This game here has a very high implied run total. I think both teams are over 5 expected runs. So I like Scoop for sure. Grossman, Candelario, they're all nice spots. Derek Hill, if you want some value, 2.8K. He's been doing really well. Excuse me, that's lower in the order. He's probably in like the 8 or 9 spot. But if you want to do like a wraparound stack with him, nothing wrong with that. All right, I'm just hearing some like large bangs outside my house. It is garbage day, but it doesn't sound like it's the garbage can. So I don't know what it is. I'm not too concerned. So Yankees, Chicago White Sox. I think Oakland is another team that we could be looking at as a nice GPP option. Going up against McKenzie, I cannot find these guys. Going against Cleveland, there we are. Oakland going up against McKenzie. We've talked about McKenzie, boom or bust. He is capable of that 30-point DK game, but in 3 of his past 6 starts, he also is in the negatives, and he's had many more negative games on the season. So you definitely want to be looking at their big guys. I mean, it's going to be Olsen, Conha, Chapman. I don't know if I have like a personal hatred towards Chapman, but like he always seems to let me down. He's one of those guys. Do you have those guys where you plug him in your lineup and everybody does so well, but when you don't play him, they do so well, but when you don't play him, they're just trash? That is Chapman for me. I just cannot get this guy right at all. So I mean, Chapman, I'm not interested in just because of that. But I like Lowry. They just got a lot of nice bats. So if you want to go with an Oakland stack, I think that's a fantastic GPP play. Obviously, there's a lot of other good spots. Boston's in a good spot. Scrolling through here, Boston, New York Mets. They got a high implied run total as well. And yeah, San Diego, who are they facing against? Rogers. If it is Rogers, who knows? But San Diego for sure. So there's lots of good options. I know it's kind of jumbled there. But definitely I'm interested in Detroit. Baltimore's another great spot. Their implied run total over 5, going up against Casey Mize. Oakland for GPP. Boston's a nice spot. New York Mets is a nice spot. Yankees, Chicago White Sox, probably my favorite on the slate. So that kind of covers everything. Sorry, it was a little jumbled. But pitching, I think it's just priced a little high, but I think I'm going to be paying up. I'm going to be paying up for Scherzer, and then probably looking down in this range. There we go. And then for the bats, there's plenty of value to be had. So good luck in your contest today, and we will see you in the next video.